of us. Have you even read the Scout Handbook? You've got a magnificent mustache, sir. You look cold, mister. Want me to get a fire going? I'm a Vandal Scout, sir, but okay. Let's see. Found it. No wonder you don't have any badges.
Oh, what a cute little talking squirrel.
Ma'am, I'll have you know I'm a junior first-class Vandal Scout. I brought my victory bugle. And I plan on playing it. New recruits. Let's put them to the test and see what they know. Ma'am, it's against the code to keep giant sea monsters as pets. Steady, steady. Here it comes. Watch out. Hey, you earned the losing badge.
Let's go!
Hello everybody, I'm Kyohei Lair. I'm a designer on 2xKO. Today I'm here with...
I'm Alex Jaffe. I'm lead champion designer on 2xKO.
Today is about Teemo. Finally, Teemo. So Teemo is a character that I learned about before I even learned about League of Legends. From the beginning, I knew he was like off-meta, meme-y, quirky character.
We've been asked, specifically the request has been weirdos. And I mean, I think Teemo is a really stand-up, regular, respectable guy. For some of you, he might be weirder. I think he's gonna do a lot for the game. I'm really excited for him.
So Teemo is a Yordle. And Yordles are this magical creature from Vandal City. And within Vandal City, there's this organization called the Vandal Scouts. And Teemo is at the head of it. I really want to mention the side of Scout for Teemo because our kit in 2xKO really takes an inspiration from what we thought or what we imagined how his daily life as a Yordle, as a Vandal Scout would look like. In result, we have Teemo using like devices to help him float, to get around trains. We have shovels to dig up some treasures or whatever. We got a lot of flavor of the Vandal Scout in Teemo's kit here. As you can see, Teemo is a very small, tiny little character. And in fighting games, that usually becomes a big issue for the opponent. There's hurt blocks all the way up to the top of the tuft to make him feel like an average height champ, maybe around ankle height. To compensate for his lack of width, we have his backpack and some naps attached to it.
I think y'all found this really good balance where like Teemo is shorter. There are some options that width against Teemo, but they are pretty rare. The entire game is sort of tuned around Teemo in a way, his crouching height specifically. Like every attack in the game, if we want it to be generally reliable and not kind of more of an edge case situational thing, that bottom of that hitbox goes just low enough to hit a crouching Teemo in the head. Obviously, everybody's been asking about small characters. A lot of people have been asking about Yordles specifically. We knew we wanted Yordles in the game. We've been telling you for ages, like, we wanted to find a way to put Yordles in the game, and guess what? Dear reader, we did.
Okay, let's talk about Teemo's kit a little bit. Let me start with Teemo's bread and butter. It is the mushrooms.
Delicious, like bread.
S2, yep, Noxus Strat. So on the top of S2, Teemo jumps back, places the mushroom right in front of him. If you are moving forward and throwing mushroom, he moves forward. And if you're moving back and throw the mushroom, he moves back and throws the mushroom.
I didn't realize that. That's a nice little touch.
You can also, like if you're jumping forward and throwing mushroom, you can land with your mushroom. There are many ways to play around this. Mushroom can be removed by the opponent's attacks. Another way to remove the mushroom is to just hit Teemo. Another way to deal with this is to get in proximity and just by blocking it or by avoiding it. And it's not really just a trap either for Teemo. Teemo has a lot of interactions for his mushrooms too. As you can see, Teemo can pretty easily set up his shop or his mushrooms. As you can see, it also goes away after 7 seconds of inactivity.
That's eternity in game time.
Yeah. If you place a mushroom on top of another mushroom, it bounces on top of it and it jumps forward towards the opponent. Yeah. And another interaction he has is that he has this move, jump down A3. It has its own purposes, like a combo window move. But if you use it with the mushroom, he jumps up and he can move here. He's free to move afterwards. Another interaction he has is shovel. This is his crouching forward A3. He pulls out a shovel and digs the ground. It has other uses like anti-air, OTG, but if you use it with the mushroom, it launches the mushroom forward, and while it's launching, the opponent could get hit by it. You may have noticed when I was exploding the mushrooms, but as I explode the mushrooms, he had 3 icons on top of his meter. First icon is the mushroom badge, and as Teemo uses this mushroom and explodes the mushroom, it keeps filling up, and he keeps gaining the badges, and once he levels up, he gains the ability to spawn poison cloud from his mushroom explosions. The mushroom also looks a little different, indicating that it is a poisonous mushroom. And if the opponent stays inside the poison cloud, the opponent gets poisoned and they suffer a little bit of DOT.
We've got dual layers of annoying here. Screen filling up with mushrooms, you try to break them, and you're still holding that poison. That's really like, in my mind, that is like the core. Like Teemo has a bunch of fun tools. He's got a lot of fun toys to play with, but the mushroom is really like the thing that defines his identity more than anything, right?
Let's get to the second badge. This is the dart badge. And the dart in his kit is his L normal. So this is his light attack. You can press lights consecutively, and Teemo shoots darts up to 3 times at a time. Like this.
Projectile normals, let's go.
He can do this in the air as well. Yeah, it is quite a strong tool, and we think this is like one of the defining features or defining ways that Teemo is going to play neutral and or zoning against the opponent. You can see when you hit the opponent with the darts, Teemo gains 1 tick of the dart badge. He gains the poison dart.
More poison.
More poison, yeah. He gains the poison dart on the first dart that he does out of the 3, and this is the same for grounded and air. Let's talk about the last badge, the slingshot, the sharpshooting scout. On tap of S1, he just shoots a slingshot forward, but you can charge this. And you can shoot farther, and you can also do this in the air. I think this is the only projectile that reach full screen. And it also has like peculiar use cases, unlike darts, for example, which is more of a straightforward projectile. And Teemo has down S1 as well. He shoots up instead, and you can charge this the same as the standing S1 or air S1. Let me get to the badge part of this. So once Teemo hits 5 slingshots total, oh, by the way, you have to hit the opponent. They cannot block these to get the point.
Okay.
Yeah, Teemo gets the slingshot badge, and his rock becomes fire rock.
It's so juicy, it feels so good to hit.
Yeah. One quick bonus that he gets for the fire slingshot is that he receives a little more hit stun off of this. So it allows Teemo to link this projectile into like a normal for additional combos, for example.
Cool, so that's the main 3 badges. That's great.
Yeah,
And
I mentioned another interaction with Mushroom earlier, but I couldn't show. And this is the interaction with S1, the slingshot. It really extends like half of the time for a slingshot bullet. It really helps the rock. Once it bounces on Mushroom, the opponent will have a hard time getting around it. Though the opponent can just strike the Mushroom and stop Teemo from doing stuff like this.
you know, you always were saying, hey, it's really important for him to have some long-range tools so that he can get that pressure up to actually move the game forward, get you coming to him, right?
So these badges, they persist across rounds. So once you get these badges, or once you accumulate points on these badges, you'll never lose them until the very end of that match. This is Fortis 1. This is called JohnoDaz. Yep. On charge of Fortis 1, he runs in place, gains momentum, and on release, he shoots himself forward with a multi-attack. We generally consider this as like a combo extender, combo ender.
He doesn't hit the hardest, right? He's not the first character you imagine to just demolish your face into the ground, but he still needs to be satisfying. He needs to feel good. I think it feels real nice to smash Teemo's entire body into your opponent.
Right. Before I want to talk about the last special he has, one unique mechanic that he has is done by just crouching on the ground, sitting still. If you press down, and this is not to be confused with down forward or down back, Teemo becomes invisible within 2 seconds, and while he's invisible, he is free to move.
What are you setting up for?
As you can notice, he comes out after a certain period of time, but while he's invisible, he enjoys a 15% speed bonus, so he's able to get around the stage a little quicker, and yeah, you just can't see him. Of course, he can attack while he's invisible. Once you attack, he does come out though, so watch out when you attack. And another unique mechanic I want to mention for Teemo is the parachute. This is done when you're in the air. You can hold up to deploy this parachute. And when you have this parachute deployed, you can move around with left or right. It's like a fun tool for Teemo to get around the stage. This leads me to the next special, or the last special. Yeah. Which is down S2. Guerrilla Tactics. Yep.
Guerrilla Tactics.
So when you press down S2, Teemo plants a cone of grass on the ground, and it grows over time.
Wait, this seems harmless.
Right. After it grows, Teemo has 3 interactions with the grass. First is that he turns invisible inside the grass almost immediately. And unlike the crouching invisibility, he can actually move around and still remain invisible.
I love that, in this tiny little space.
Yep.
It's like, I have some sense of what he might be.
He could go outside too.
Yeah, and it persists for a little while.
Right. When he's outside of the grass, he can press down S2 again to teleport back to the grass. If you don't remember the grass was behind you, for example, and Teemo just goes behind you and just hits you real quick from behind. There's another use for this, and that is Teemo can use crouching H to burn the grass. And once you touch the flame, you get hit up to 3 times and you get launched up. Teemo can combo afterwards, of course. And another special feature about this fire is that once you get the fire and Teemo holds up, you can float on the updraft of the fire. Another interaction that Teemo has with the grass is that once you get the flame slingshot, he can set the grass ablaze with the flame slingshot as well. So let's talk about Teemo's supers. So S1 super, Vandal Sky Patrol.
There we go, you got it.
Yeah, Teemo gets on his leaf copter, he flies around in it, and he shoots 9 darts total. Teemo can decide to just bust out the super and just, play neutral like this, and the opponent kind of has to get around, to get away. Say if you have a double down fuse, you can use the super, pull your assists, and you can play around or play with the darts. Let me get to the S2 super. This is the Noxious Surprise, the big mushroom. Yeah, in principle, it works pretty similar to the regular mushrooms, or just a bigger version of the mushroom trap. It does hit multiple times, does more damage. So one difference is that it cannot be destroyed by opponent's attacks. Yeah. Ouch. Right. But to deal with this, the opponent can get close to the mushroom and either block it or maybe try to get away from it. Another thing for the super mushroom is that it actually counts towards 2 points of the mushroom badge. So traditionally, if you do a shovel on the mushroom, it just bounces once, replaces or moves to 1 plane forward. But if you shovel the big mushroom, it keeps going forward. Okay, let's talk about Teemo's ult. This is the ult, the Blinding Dart. Teemo shoots a Blinding Dart at the opponent. Once it hits, Teemo jumps up, throws a bunch of mushrooms at the opponent, drops some more on the opponent, and himself.
Nice.
This is a projectile ult. It does go pretty far, so if you're here, you can probably hit it still. Yeah, it is invulnerable like other ults. Let's talk about assists real quick. This is Teemo's forward assist. It's the mushroom. of course. But unlike the regular mushroom, he remains on the ground while he does this. That's partially because when you want to tag into Teemo once he's doing the assist, we didn't want him to, be in the air. So that's why he's on the ground. But otherwise, it's basically just a mushroom move. And this is Teemo's back assist, the darts. Instead of 3, he shoots 2. But unlike the regular darts, they come a little staggered. You may have noticed that once the projectiles hit, the victim stays grounded. And that has a lot of implications for characters that can, I guess, like combo from the assist. You have a perfect combination here. If you can do like a ducking forward into,
Boom.
Yep. For someone like Jinx too, Jinx who is another projectile heavy character, I think Teemo can aid that very well as well. They just become like an actual bullet hell.
Wait, can you show me?
Yeah.
I want to fight your bullet hell.
Sure.
A little.
Teemo can set up his shop, and while he's doing this, Jinx's projectile combo. Yeah, and there's like some things you gotta deal with even after you get through all these. Let me get to Teemo's super assist, the Noxious Sweeper. When you call Teemo for super assist, he comes in from the air.
Oh my god, it's so impressive.
He goes through the entire screen dropping little mushrooms. In a nutshell, this is like a screen clear assist, but obviously you can use it for pressure combos. Pressures might look like, because there are gaps in between, you can like cross them up. Yeah, of course you can go for high lows. In Teemo's case, we really wanted Teemo to be able to be played by like anyone, really. Like even beginners or even someone who's not really played fighting games before and just checking out 2Xscale for the first time.
It was an interesting design problem where we knew Teemo had to be weird because he's a weirdo, like we've established. Anybody who sees him for the first time, thinks he's cute and just wants to play should get to. And I think y'all did an amazing job of threading that needle.
Yeah, glad you pointed it out. That's another thing we want to make sure on Teemo's kit too. We want to make sure that individual tools that he has are individually fun to use. At least these tools, it's pretty straightforward. It's clearly good and easy to use. So yeah, we're super excited. So that is it for Teemo today. Hope you all enjoyed. I'm super glad that I was finally able to talk about Teemo and show y'all what Teemo's about. Thank you for watching. Please check them out in the early access that's coming soon.
Have a great time. Enjoy playing Teemo.
Teeth to lose, Wolf.
Hey everyone, Peter Rosas, designer on Warwick.
And I'm Steve Bankert, also champ designer on the team.
We are talking about everyone's favorite Beastie Boy today.
He's here.
Warwick. For those uninitiated, Warwick is a man who was cruelly experimented on and, he became a beast. And we want to make sure that, the players get to feel like that ferocious beast monster character. When you think of Warwick, you know that he's always trying to hunt the prey down, right? So we wanted to make sure that we could, put that feeling into the player's hands. What does it feel like to pursue prey and get them? And then the last thing we wanted to kind of get across to the player or let them perform is like breaking the rules of the game, right? Just uncaging them, like allowing them to feel feral, right? We wanted players to always just be worried about what's gonna happen. How is he gonna get to you? Unpredictable movement. Where is he gonna come from? The ground, the sky, represent that agility. All those things, we wanted to make sure that they were like present in his kit. So the first attack that we're gonna look at, it's called Claws of the Beast, which is stand S1. What's really cool about this move, besides it being an overhead, is that when it hits the opponent, they go into kind of like a medium knockdown, which you can then use to set up, follow-ups. If you hold S1, he could run for a pretty long time. During that run, he's projectile invulnerable. Right? When he comes out of the run, he's no longer projectile invulnerable, so you have to time it. So his next attack is called Rage of the Beast. It has a similar startup to Claws of the Beast, but instead at the end, he ends with a lunging headbutt. If you use Wrath of the Beast, then that gives you advantage, right? Or it lets you blow through their attack.
Right. And then you talked about sort of like Warwick, he's coming at you like really horizontal, but you also added this nice vertical element to his game on the Crouch S1.
So with his Crouch S1 suite, he goes into Primal Leap. So that's this little flip here. And if you hold down in S1, he goes a lot further. And what's like really cool about this move is when it goes up, it does hit going up. Yeah. And then when you use Primal Leap, he has 3 different follow-ups. The first one being Pursuit, where he does a really quick diving bite. And what's really cool about that is that then that knocks up the opponent and it allows you to follow up. His next follow-up attack in the Primal Leap suite is Tear. And the reason that you want to use Tear is that it ground bounces the opponent and hits in the front, but as you can see, it kind of like hovers in the air ever so slightly.
So, the cross-up is nasty.
And it crosses up, right? So it's kind of hard to block, which is really interesting. And then on top of that, it's plus on block. So if the opponent blocks it, you could use this as a way to kind of keep up pressure. And then for those pesky opponents who are too defensive, you want to go ahead and use Snare, right? Just because that does a really good amount of damage.
And it's command throw.
It's a command throw, yes.
Nice.
So you can't block it. What's really cool is if you're using either Rage of the Beast or Claws of the Beast, right? You could cancel that by pressing up and getting a Primal Leap cancel out of that, thereby adding another layer to your offensive capabilities.
Yeah.
One of the things that's really cool about Warwick, you can get the opponent to the corner pretty nicely. And then once the opponent's in the corner, that's typically like a safer space you could be in, right? You can't really get crossed up in the corner.
Right.
Once again, the idea is no safe spaces against him. And to that point, we added the Primal Climb where he gets to cling onto the corner. What's really cool about this is that he has access to those same kind of Primal Leap follow-ups, but they're like enhanced. They're much stronger from the corner, right? So when he does Pursuit and it hits, the opponent is launched and they spin out, allowing for cooler combos. When you use the M attack, you'll see it's a little bit different.
Right.
He's doing a new attack called Rend, which can ground bounce an airborne opponent, but against a standing opponent, it leaves them standing with a lot of hit stuns. And then he also has Snare from there as well, just in case the opponent gets a little too defensive.
Right. Too comfy.
Exactly. And then the other awesome thing is, once again, if you press the charged version of Primal Leap, he'll go into Primal Climb automatically.
And that's cool too, just seeing the way that the way the offense sort of develops based on the opponent's tendencies. You can condition in certain ways if you want to. He really lets you play that sort of like offensive style.
So his Air S1 is his attack called Feral Fang, where he kind of drops down on the opponent after jumping forward. It's a series of like slash and bites. And what's really cool about this attack is, it kind of sets up nicely for some of his grounded follow-ups. His S2 is an attack called Savage Slashes, right? So pressing S2, he does 2 slash. Pressing S2 again, he'll do a 3rd slash, and then pressing S2 one more time, he does a 4th slash, right? And what's really awesome about this is just, it's on the player to kind of input those slashes as they see fit. They get to feel that they're actually tearing into the opponent. His next attack in his S2 suite is his Crouch S2, and it's called Bloodseeker. So this move is, it functions kind of like a really strong anti-air, right? This is the only kind of attack in the game that is pretty much anti-air invulnerable after the start of it, all the way through the attack. So, you know, when you think of like anti-air attacks in our games, we have our launchers, but these are only invulnerable for a few frames, whereas Crouch S2 for Warwick is invulnerable like the whole time.
Right.
That's by design. That's part of Warwick's catch and release gameplay. You want to use S1 to pursue the opponent and use S2 to viciously maul them, but at the same time, once you do that, you knock them away. And then his aerial S2 is his spinning slicers. So what's really cool about that is that, you know, much like his ground savage slashes, he has like this additional slash that you get to input as the player. So you don't have to do it if you don't want to. But as you can see, like when you do it, you do knock the opponent away. So there is a trade-off. His last attack on his S2 suite is his forward S2 called Feral Bite. And this is where he kind of like rears back and he picks the opponent and tosses them over his head, you know? What's really cool about this move is that you can like cancel the recovery of the move. This move is essential because, you know, you can do it after his air S1, you can do it after his sweep, you can do it after any like real opportunity where you knock the opponent down. That's an opportunity to use Feral Bite. There's 3 areas of like Warwick's design that we were trying to like really hit. So S1 is all about the pursuit, right? It's all about the hunt. So S2, it's all about the players getting to feel that like power transfer, you know, when you're like tearing up an opponent. And the last one was just uncaging the player, right? Like just allowing them to go fully feral. As Warwick, you know, lands these S2 attacks, which, you know, you can see here, he's building up the bloodlust gauge. And then once it's full, you'll see him go into this bloodlust state. When you go into bloodlust, you know, Warwick just becomes that much more enhanced. His dashes speed up.
Yeah, it's like across the board, too.
Right?
Like speed, power, like he...
Exactly, right? He gains 2 new specials. He's able to recover his gray health. Whenever he does his S2 attacks, you can see it slowly...
It's a good chunk.
Yeah, it's slowly recovering. As I mentioned, you know, he has some new specials that get added, right? So he loses Rage of the Beast, but instead gains a new move called Wrath of the Beast, where he does this crazy quick forward translating slash. And what's really cool about that is that move is still projectile invulnerable and it causes a wall bounce. It does crazy damage. And then if you're close enough, it crosses up at the last second.
That's the nastiest part about this.
That's where it gets, you know, that's where it gets really unpredictable, really scary. And then the other new attack that he gains is an upgraded version of Feral Bite. He gains a new attack called Feral Feast.
Yeah.
So check it out.
That's on the forward S2.
Yeah, it's on forward S2.
Oh yeah, the extra mauling.
Yeah, right.
That's pretty sweet.
And you know, other thing that's really cool about that is that, you know, when he connects that, when the opponent has recoverable life, he takes it all away.
I straight up did not know about that.
You're like, wait, who okayed that? You don't lose the corner carry. So, you know,
that's huge.
The other really cool thing, and this is kind of like what really is at the heart of Bloodlust. You could cancel certain specials into certain specials.
Yeah, it's good.
What that means is that you could cancel his Bloodseeker into a Feral Fang.
Yeah.
You could cancel his Vid Slashes into a Wrath of the Beast. Another thing that he gains, an aerial version of Primal Leap that he doesn't have normally. So when you're attacking the opponent and they're blocking, you can use this as a way to kind of break their defense.
You're right.
So we just wanted to make sure that, you know, players just had options and they were able to kind of utilize the combos the way they wanted.
As you're doing these cancels, you're like spending, like the gauge depletes like fairly slowly on its own. But if you want to access the power, you got to spend some of it looks like.
That was our way to ensure that this didn't become like grossly imbalanced. The way that we kind of did that was ensuring, you know, his new moves, they do take up some of that bloodlust gauge. There is a cost to using them because they're so strong. It's also, whenever you cancel, there is also a cost associated with that. He's giving up, you know, some of his bloodlust gauge to break the rules of the game. And that's what's awesome. You know, the player gets to choose the routes to maximize the bloodlust gauge. You want to talk about the supers?
Yeah, let's go for it.
His S1 super, you know, it falls in line with the idea of pursuing.
Yep.
Right? It's takes a leap back, and then he flies towards the opponent, uses his agility, slashes them a ton of times, and then brings them down to the ground, right?
And that's our take on Infinite Duress.
Yes,
for like
exactly.
the 2x KO version.
And what's really cool about this super too is that it's one of the few that can be done in the air. It also tracks.
Oh yeah, I can jump and show that.
Yeah, so it's gonna like follow. It's gonna predict where Jinx will be, and it'll like land it and like hit her if you use it in double down, it's just like really easy for kind of Warwick to kind of capitalize because he could kind of reach from anywhere. So it makes him a pretty strong partner in that regard.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, so it's S2 super, no escape. What's really cool about that is, he does a bunch of slashes, kind of in line with that feeling of, the S2 slash the savage slashes, right?
It's like the ultimate form of the S2s.
Exactly. But what's really cool about that too is that, it fills up the bloodlust gauge. So using this at the end of a combo, right? Like it gives you about like 40%. So then if you were doing it after the savage slashes, that's just a really quick way for you to get like 65% of the bloodlust gauge. And then his ultimate attack, one of the coolest in the game.
So sick.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
I mean, come on. So his ultimate attack called like, Blood Hunt. Shout outs to everyone that made this possible. But like, look at this. Let's take a second to appreciate this, right? Following the trail.
Yeah, so you get the whole fantasy of like going through the streets is on.
Yeah, and what's like also super cool about this attack is that, it can like pick up off the ground. Another really, really cool thing about it is that if you aren't in Bloodlust, it will instantly put you into it.
It's like a conversion. So
right.
I'm gonna turn all this meter and I'm going right into Bloodlust and dealing a ton of damage.
Right, and it's expensive, mind you. It's like not you instantly get it. 3 bars to get there, you're cashing out. For those of you who were wondering, like, well, hey man, like if I'm already in Bloodlust,
like
what's the benefit? Like, why would I even do it beside the damage? Well, our homage to League, right, is that we let Warwick heal. Like he's like the only character that can do that. When you hit the ultimate, you can see that he actually gains back life.
Yeah, it's a big chunk.
Yeah, it's a big chunk. He becomes like this force that's just kind of un-KOable, unstoppable. So he has 2 assists. His first one is an assist version of Rage of the Beast. That's his forward and assist. What I think so good about that is that it's like really cool at like knocking the opponent away and just being annoying, right? If you team up Warwick with somebody like Teemo, or you team him up with like Jinx, right? Like
that gives me all this space to just start.
Exactly, right? Like if I'm like flying around with Teemo, just kind of being annoying, boom, I knock you away, and then I just start throwing more rocks, right? Like shooting more pebbles at you, right?
I'm seeing this scenario in my nightmares.
Like, oh no, don't give him ideas. Don't give him ideas, That to me is what's awesome about like using that assist, right? You can plug him in as also like a damage extender. Yeah, you could pick up off of it. It's like the timing is tight, but you could do it. And that allows you to kind of like, let Warwick come in, he could get some blood gauge, that kind of thing. What's also awesome when Warwick is used as an assist is that when he's off of the screen, he doesn't lose bloodlust gauge.
Okay, so you don't have to worry about like always keeping him on point.
Exactly. So,
cool.
If you like, get a little bit of the bloodlust gauge and then tag him back out, it'll stay at that same amount. And then his back assist, he does an assist version of Bloodseeker.
Okay.
You could use Warwick to pick him back up to extend the combo, And then also, once again, it's also good at creating space, kind of knocking the opponent away.
But yeah, so you have like the one assist that really covers that horizontal space, and then the other one kind of like can command the skies. If you're able to knock him out, right, and he's down and out, what does a super assist look like?
So his super assist is basically no escape. Yep. And in my opinion, this might be like one of the.
It's really good.
This might be one of the strongest super assists. No bias.
Yeah. But. So yeah, we've talked a ton about just like his different strengths, sort of like philosophy, how he got there. But what about if you're playing against Warwick and you're like, man, what do I do against this guy? What are like some weaknesses you should keep on the brain?
The thing about Warwick is that he is a bigger champ. It's like he can get hit by buttons that are kind of thrown out because he has like some bigger hurt boxes with his attacks as well. Like he could get punished if your spacing is incorrect. We wanted to make sure that there was counterplay to all of his attacks, right? Mm-hmm. So if your opponent is like highly aware of Warwick's kit, then you have to kind of surprise them. We wanted to make sure that while Warwick did feel scary, like he doesn't feel there's no counterplay to him. For all of Warwick's strengths and everything, he does need to get up close for him to like really strike fear into the opponent.
So on a team then, it sounds like you really want to pair someone up with Warwick who's going to cover these weaknesses for him. Who do you feel like is like a strong fit for that on the roster right now?
So I think that once again, Jinx, very helpful. Her projectile allows her to kind of cover him and allows him a way in. Another champion that I was using recently that I think is pretty fun is like Teemo. Any character that could kind of like help Warwick get more bloodless gauge, I think is also a great fit.
I feel like we've covered a really good like breadth of the kit. You got any like tech or combos you want to show off?
Yes, I'm using a character that you could consider a combo fiend, right?
Yeah.
So here's one for the viewers.
Okay. Let's go.
Let's go first try.
Actual first take.
That was just like one combo that I showed you with different kind of cancel routes and specials being used. I mean, I'm really excited to see what all of you end up like finding with him and the routes that you guys choose. And it's so awesome to be able to work on Warwick and just like be able to kind of represent that viciousness and virality and all of that, and now give that to the players and see what they end up finding.
You never really know how it's going to turn out until players get their hands on it, but we're all really excited about Warwick, and yeah, we can't wait for y'all to try him.
All right, and that's Warwick in a nutshell. So thanks everyone for tuning in. And don't forget, Warwick is on the hunt in early access. You can play 2xKO for free now on PC.
We'll see you soon.